Good evening. I'm the Fit Lawyer ATL, and we are live. Look who I got in the studio, y'all. James is flown in from California.
Yeah, just for the show.
Yes, just for the show, right? That's what it turned out to be. We had other plans, but yeah. So while he was here, we just decided to jump into the studio together and give you all some YSL updates, a little tea, talk about some other bullshit going on with the trial. As always, point out some errors because that's all James does. Welcome.
Not for everybody, just in certain situations.
Yes. So welcome to Atlanta. We got 24 in the chat. Make sure you came in and hit the like button and subscribe. All right, we got Cat Knight Williams is in the house. Shout out Cat Knight Williams. The Mac Man Morning Show. Shout out. I'm gonna hit you back. He was the first one in the chat tonight. Thank you. But always, forever, for life. She says she finally got a notification. Yes, I know, right? So, stop tripping on you. The algorithms put me back into y'all notifications, so I'm glad you're in the house. LaRon H says, free Moon Tung all day until it's backwards. Sonya McMillion says the same. Yay, Kat, I'm so glad you're here. All right, shout out Tat Clouds. PR says, oh, yeah, you already know. Y'all already know James keeps up trouble, okay? So I am the peacemaker of the two, right? I'm the one that likes to play nice. James is like coming out with the punches. He's like, nope, let's go, let's fight. So it's a nice balance.
It was a good day for us in that sense.
Yeah, it was.
We spent a lot of time just waiting today.
Yeah, waiting. We were hoping something was going to happen today, but it did not. Trakisha McNeil says, hey, Fit fam. Yes, I don't have my buzzer, y'all, but I'm hitting it. Y'all know I'm hitting it. But like my studio at home is so small. So I was like, all right, let's go to the office so we can get side by side. Vague and Ambiguous says, I'm so excited to hear updates. Pretty Eyes T says, hey, everyone. I'm so excited that you all are here. We're up to 53 in the chat. Yeah, we got some people checking in. Some people excited. Destin 2B says, hey, Fit and James. So for you all just tuning in or just finding about our channel, that I am the Fit Lawyer ATL, and I am a 20-year criminal defense attorney here in Atlanta, Georgia. I have a law firm, the Adams Firm. We practice criminal defense and personal injury. And James and I, who flew all the way from California, are representing Muntum, Antonio Sledge, in trying to get some justice finally for his case. So, James, introduce yourself.
That's not fair.
What? Look at James. He always, because he's like, so.
I've been practicing for 20 years. I don't have my own firm. I don't do criminal defense work.
But he's amazing. So tell us how long you've been practicing.
Yeah. I do bankruptcy mostly and other solvency stuff. And I practice in California. And I came here just to do this show and for no other reason. And I'm really excited to be here. And I've been following Moonton's case since really like September maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think
even before the
were you watching YSL when Woody testified and stuff?
Let me see. Yeah, that was right on the time I started.
Okay, so that was
watching when Brian Steele got locked up.
Oh yeah, the infamous lockup of Brian Steele. Yeah. So yes. So I just want to check the sound. Can you all hear James? He's a little more soft spoken than I am. So I want to make sure you all can hear him. So let me know if you all can hear him. Put one in the chat if you can hear James really well. And shout out Cat Knight Williams. I need my buzzer. Shout out, Cat is gifted 10 Fit Lawyer ATL membership. So for the next month, you'll get to see what goes on for members only. Thank you so much, Cat, for that support. I greatly appreciate it, y'all. Cat is a big supporter. She actually linked us, right? So she told James that she heard me on some shows saying that I was devastated about what happened with Moot Tung. I mean, we actually watched that live on the lead attorney's channel, and he brought me up after the revocation to talk about it because it was heartbreaking to see the lack of representation for him at that hearing and to see him snatched off the street, and for Judge Whitaker to say, like, I hope these 5 years doesn't impact you. Like, that was so weird. So ever since that moment, it broke my heart, and I wish there was something I could do. And Kat linked us, so I got an email from James saying, "Hey, I heard you want to help out," and I'm like, "Sure, send me what you got." Y'all, when I said I wanted to help, I thought that this was going to be like, "Oh, we'll just ask Judge Whitaker for a motion for reconsideration for the probation revocation." Oh my God, it was so much more. Like, it's so much more. So, because we're still in the works of this, we're not going to reveal everything from Antonio's case today. However, we are going to talk about some errors in Miles Farley, and we're going to catch you up on what's going on with Quamarvious Nichols. And I'm bothered by that as well. And so we're going to get into all of that. So, are you excited?
Yeah, I did a Duke thing on my channel this week or last week.
Okay. I'm like, why am I turning around and I can look at you in the screen?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then the civil case, the civil asset forfeiture case, where there was the shady default judgment in a state case.
And so Duke is, what's his legal
Martinez
name?
Arnold?
Martinez Arnold.
Fulton County is Arnold Martinez.
Arnold Martinez.
Yeah.
That's Ashley Merchant's client, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So how was he involved in the civil forfeiture?
He was at the house on May 9th when the theft, the search happens.
See what I'm saying? Y'all heard him say theft.
Theft. I did say that. We'll be revisiting some of those characters in the Miles Farley case too.
Yeah. Some names pop up. Yeah.
So his car, he had a car there, and there was some jewelry in the car, and Fulton County just seized it, supposedly for an asset forfeiture. And that case was stayed, but then it was on this, what day was it? 17th or the 18th?
Yeah.
There was a default judgment entered, and it's improper. You can't enter a judgment in a state case. And
so
now I'm just waiting to see what Ashley does.
I know. How did that happen? So what James was saying, okay, so I saw a question, objection 403, shout out sis. She says, how did James get involved? So James was simply watching the YSL trial on YouTube with everyone else, and like, what got you intrigued? What kind of hooked you?
So I couldn't sleep one night, and I got clickbaited into watching Brian Steele get locked up. So I thought it was going to be funny.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, this is messed up. And then I just kept getting more and more annoyed for the past,
It hasn't stopped. So you basically went down a rabbit hole and just found. Yeah. What was like the first thing that you found that you were like, wait a minute, something's not right here?
It was funny. I kept thinking, I would see stuff and because he was testifying. So right after that, so that's why I started looking into his case, because I just, wanted to know more. And I couldn't figure out what the charges were in his case. And I was just trying to understand. Yeah. And I just kept assuming that I was dumb. And then eventually it switched, and I'm like, no, it's not me. Right. And then, I started tweeting and yelling about it on the internet. Okay. And after the revocation, what was it? Somebody put me in touch with the family, and I heard that he was no longer represented. So I managed to get in touch with him directly. And all right. There
he goes. Looking at the trial on the internet, seeing things wrong and happening. And when you mentioned what were his charges, what were his charges? Right. Like, even me getting into the case, I'm like, why was he arrested in a part of this? So he was arrested December, I think 5th of 2019.
Yep.
For possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. We haven't gotten discovery from, the prosecutors. We haven't requested that in that case. However, we got our hands on some information, right? Because I used to work in Fulton County for 8 years as a public defender. So y'all know I know people. So I'm able to get stuff out the system and everything. So we have his case, and it appears it was an incident that occurred, I guess, around 5 points when he was arrested. Nothing to do with YSL. He was alone. I don't understand how that's tied into the YSL case as a RICO, but it's kind of looking like Miles Farley's case now. Like, they're just trying to. Yeah. We know you're part of YSL at some point in your life, so we're going to link it and put a RICO on you. And I saw your post on Twitter. Have you seen RICO since you've been here?
Yeah.
No Rico.
I don't ask anybody.
Right. Like, where's Rico? Because there's a lot of Ricos in Atlanta, right? Because that's just a common name, right? But where is this illegal crime ring of YSL? Where is it at? Like,
I'm just mad about that. I'm so mad about the 2019 case that you just mentioned.
Yeah, y'all, just hearing about this 2019 case, I cannot wait until we can really get into the details. It's just, I don't understand how that was tied into murders that occurred back in 2014 and 2015. Why was a 2019 possession of a firearm dolo, okay, put a part as a RICO? I have no clue. It feels like they just really try to pull different charges from different people. Some of the charges on the case, people had already took pleas for and are actually already under sentence, but they needed that to put it under the RICO to try to, I guess, take down Thug, right?
He wore sweatpants once too.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget he wears sweatpants in
the
conspiracy.
Yeah, so that proves you're a part of the conspiracy. So it's crazy. So shout out to James, y'all. He did a lot of digging. Once I saw everything, I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. So let me go get the law on it and put it all in writing. So that's where we are, y'all. So like I'm hoping that we don't have to go to court.
I'm hoping we do go to court.
So we both want Mutu home as soon as possible. So just be in prayer with us that occurs. That's pretty much all that we can really go into about that case at this point. But we got some stuff to get into. Yeah. We got some stuff, yeah. So
we don't even get to everything. I got a new case. I didn't tell you about this yet.
No.
So Sylvia sent it to me. There was sort of like there was a shooting in July of 2021, and this kid was kept in Rice Street until Monday, and he eventually pleaded guilty. And I looked at his case file, and it's the same. I know you've seen this motion before. It's the motion to admit gang evidence. It's the same cut and pasted motion that I've read 5 times. And,
funny that you say cut and pasted.
That was a good segue.
That was a great segue because Miles Farley's case is looking a little cut and paste. I don't know about.
Yeah, I was talking to Kat about this too. If she's still
here. Yeah, I think Kat, if you're still in the chat, we were talking about that. Oh yeah, we may drop the link and let Kat come up. Kat, let me know if you want to come up. I'll drop the link. But Miles Farley's case is giving a little cut and paste, y'all. And we're gonna go through it. I saw some errors. James saw some other errors. How will that affect his case? Who knows? But he has great attorneys that I'm sure are already on top of things. But the continuous errors, they're just really surprising to me that in 2025, like we're still making the type of errors that you'll see in these cases because there's no reason for it, right? We got computer, you're not doing handwriting. There's no reason for you to mix up people's names and claim somebody's one thing. I mean, the car only had one tag, so yeah, we're just gonna get into it. I'm just gonna pull it up on the screen so y'all can see it as we see it because I just don't understand. So yeah, for always, forever, for life says he was in Rice Street from 2021 to 2025. Isn't that wild?
Yeah,
that is wild. But there are a lot of people sitting in jail like that, and it's really COVID. I don't know if people really understand the effect that COVID had on the criminal justice system, especially here in Georgia. So we have a Georgia Supreme Court, right? And so there's a chief judge. And I remember, I don't know when the world shut down. I can't remember if it was like February or March, but I remember there was someone in DeKalb County that died from COVID in the court system. And shortly after, it shut down. And so courts were closed. We were quarantined, and we actually could not indict cases, conduct criminal trials for a whole year, for over a year. It's like from March until May of 2021. So you got to think like every day people are committing crimes because y'all know Atlanta was open. Right? Like people were not staying in their house. So people were continuously getting arrested every day, but they could not prosecute the cases. Like they could have first appearance because you have to legally have first appearance within 48 to 72 hours. And they were doing some probation revocations by Zoom, but like trials and everything were not happening. And if you're charged with rape or child molestation or murder, your offer's probably life or 25 years. You taking that shit to trial. And it's like, you couldn't have a trial. So all these people are bagged up. And that's why the jails are overcrowded. That's why Fulton County inmates are housed at every metro Atlanta county in Georgia. And that is why you see people in 2025 taking pleas to stuff because they're like, I'm ready to go home.
Yeah.
They're ready to go home.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'd been denied bond like 3 times,
Yeah.
4 times. And the crazy, he was sentenced, he got 10 years credit for time served. And he's been there for 4 years on a murder, like 6 gang counts.
That doesn't even make any sense to me, how you could get 10 years on a murder charge. But we had people in the YSL 1 that were charged with murder that ended up probation, or the murder charge got dismissed in order for them to take a plea, which leads me to believe you didn't have strong evidence. Yeah. So why the hell am I in prison or jail for 4 years and you don't have strong evidence on the case and you're ready just to basically give me time served almost? That's wild.
Laylock and I think Laylock got no prosecution and got I think essentially 0 years. I think it was just a credit for time served. So it's essentially 0.
Yeah, it's crazy. K Smith, shout out, gives 5 Fit Lawyer ATL membership. Shout out, K Smith. Haven't seen you in a while, but I haven't been on in a while. I was live last week a few times though, but thank you so much for the support. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. So our membership is getting up. We got a member only live coming up soon. So if you're not a member, be sure to join so that you can find out what that's all about. But we might have to do a members only live on Moonsoon one day. Very soon. Very, very soon. Because I don't know how long I'm going to be able to hold James back. So
the funny thing is I had to go back and delete all my old stuff once I actually became his lawyer. There are some things that if you can recover that stuff, if there's a way to do that, you can probably read some of my thoughts.
You had to go back and delete old tweets.
So many.
Look at James, y'all. I'm telling you, he is the one that cuts up. Look, I'm still practicing in Atlanta, so I'm going to have other clients. So while I ain't scared, you know what I'm saying? But, I got to play, politically correct because I still have to go to court and make sure my other clients don't get treated bad because I was showing out. But hey.
I also take screenshots of any time anyone says anything bad about them.
Oh, that's awesome. You saved it up.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can come back and show them that, hey, y'all were wrong. Especially all the people that were telling you that you weren't right about the things that you were pointing out about his case. Like, I would love to see those people. That's crazy. So, all right. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Thank y'all coming out. Make sure you hit like and subscribe and share. All right, so we're going to talk about Miles Farley, y'all. We kind of gave y'all some teasers. We said they were cutting and pasting. There were some errors. So let me share my screen. Let's see. And see what we got first. I got a lot pulled up here because we got a lot to talk about. Thank you. Yeah, I have a huge monitor. It's like, I think this is a 27-inch, but I have a 32-inch at home. Like, I need to be able to see these. Sit at these computer screens all day. The words and letters get small, so I need to pull it up. Okay, so
you can see the bullshit so clearly.
Yeah,
it's just like it's coming out of the screen at you.
Yeah. So this is Miles Farley, recent arrest packet. Okay, so this is a citation here, and we are going to review his warrants and pick out. And you'll see as we review this, the errors, okay? But let me just show you why he's back in trouble. And the thing with Miles and why it's such a big deal with him, if you all remember, he took, Miles Farley was involved in the first YSL trial. He was a defendant. His case was severed from the original. Why was it severed? Did his attorney get in? What happened?
I probably didn't have a lawyer.
Maybe he didn't have a lawyer yet. Because because it was a 28-count indictment. Some people took pleas. The trial started with, I think, 12, but by the time it actually crunk up, there were only 6, and then Miles Farley wasn't in that bunch. Yeah, so
he's a bad guy, though. He needed the sweatpants.
Yes. This is a clothing designer who had never been arrested before. Didn't he graduate college or go to college graduate? So he was YSL because he was making clothes that said slime again, like the hats that
only the slime.
Yeah. that cause people to get killed in this gang paraphernalia, whatever they argue. So that's how he was a part of this case.
I mean, if they don't have clothes, they can't leave the house. They can't leave the house
then you can't be a part of YSL. Right. So that's why he's a part. So right, Miss CDB said James coming to the barbecue. Yes. Okay. James will be at the barbecue. So Miles Farley had 1 count of RICO, is what he took a plea to, and he pled sometime shortly after the first trial. He was given probation and first offender. So what first offender is, and some people get it confused because they think first offender means probation, but it doesn't. It's just an act that you can be sentenced under, which means after your sentence is over, whatever that sentence is, and you complete it successfully, then it can be discharged from your criminal history as if you were never convicted of it. Also, while you're on first offender probation, if your attorney knows and asks and the judge grants it, they can limit public access to that charge as soon as you go on probation. So it can, in essence, be sealed from day one. So it doesn't hold you up when you're trying to get jobs and all that stuff. So Mr. Farley is under a first offender probation. Now,
how many times can you use it?
You can only use it once. Now, in Georgia, they have what they call a drug first offender, which is a conditional discharge. So that, in essence, if your first arrest was like a felony possession of a drug charge, then you could plead under the conditional discharge, which would leave your first offender open. So you could technically use the first offender kind of treatment twice, but technically first offender, you can only use one time, that act. And so it was read, I think, when Moontung, you brought that, I just remember at Moontung's revocation, they were saying that he used it twice. Now,
3 times.
3 times, actually. Now, I will say this. If you have 2 felonies and they're your first 2 felonies pending, let's say they're in different jurisdictions, or maybe they're both in Fulton County, and you plead them together, or it's like a joint resolution, they will allow all of that to go under first offender. So you could, in essence, have 2 different counts or 2 different cases go under first offender if it's your first time being convicted of a felony. So that can happen. However, you're not going to be able to take it 2 or 3 different times as if they tried to present it in Moontung case, which you think would let people know that it must be an error or something.
It's an error.
But it wasn't reported that way. So here we go. So in Miles's case, the con side to first offender, if you get in trouble and your first offender is violated, the judge can re-sentence you to the max of your charge. So he's on probation for, is it the RICO?
Yeah.
And I believe the max on RICO is 20 years, right? I think it's 20. It may be 30. I'll look it up. I think it's 20 or yeah.
It's 20. Yeah.
20. So technically, worst case scenario, on her bad day, Judge Whitaker could revoke Miles Farley's probation and sentence him to 20 years in prison. He would get credit for the time he's already been on probation, but that is the con side to it. So, and I'm not sure, I don't represent Miles. I've never met him, never talked to him, so I kind of don't know what lifestyle he's into, but let's take Miles out of it. If I ever have a client that I think is not going to be able to be successful, or they kind of like still in the street, you can't tell them nothing, you kind of know which client isn't going to do it, I would have just taken the 5 years probation as a regular sentence, right? Taking the conviction, taking the felony, and then if he was successful and made it off for probation, and then a couple years went by, we can come back and do a retroactive first offender. Like, it's kind of playing games, but sometimes you got to do that to protect your clients so they won't get caught up in the whole, you can get sentenced to 20 years. So that's just a little, little tease. If you have family members that get caught up in that and you like, I know your ass ain't to write on probation.
You read the motives. At some point, his transcript from his first offender, that judge was...
What judge? Yeah, do you remember the judge?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. We read so much on his case. But some judges don't play. Like, some judges will put in your sentencing how you're going, what's going to happen when you come back. Some of them will already say, if you violate, I am going to do this. So there's a judge, Steelager, used to be on the bench in the cab, and he would say, if you come back, I'm going to violate a year. Off the rip, no second chances. This probation is your only chance. And y'all, he would pull out his transcript every time he had a revocation on someone that had a first offender, and he would literally read it. I don't care what the argument was. You could have a great argument, but he would still give you a year. So I don't know what's going to happen with Miles in that case. They have not taken out a warrant yet or filed a petition to have his probation revoked. So just maybe justice.
I think they're terrified of bringing this in front of Judge Whitaker. I think she'll eviscerate them if they try to do that. I think they'll lock them up.
That could be it. Now, Judge Whitaker can still see it though, because sometimes they like to try. Oh, let me stop. I saw Miss Sylvia in the chat. Oh, it's going by. I saw your name, Miss Sylvia. Shout out to Miss Sylvia. It's here, the infamous Sylvia. If one of the mods can post Miss Sylvia's channel and post it in the chat for you all to go subscribe. There it is. Miss Sylvia says, hey everyone. Hey Miss Sylvia. Miss Sylvia is boots on the ground, y'all. She is in, if a court is appearing, she is there. So tune in to Miss Sylvia to get your ATL news as well. But yeah, like I was saying, that Judge Whitaker could still see this case though, because they like to keep your cases before the same judge. So I mean, that would just make sense, right?
Yeah, I think she puts it into the sentence. I don't know if she did for him, but
yeah,
she does sometimes.
Put to see you back for the revocation. So she definitely will see him if they choose to do the revocation, but they could wait and see how the case plays out, because there were 2 people that were arrested. So yeah. I don't know.
I didn't know if the second one was even arrested.
Oh yeah, was he?
Jaborius Greer.
I don't know. We'll have to look into this. Miss Sylvia can probably tell us. Was Greer arrested as well, Miss Sylvia? So I'll have to look it up because I know she already knows. All right, so we're going to share this.
Yeah, it looks at Greer's his first. I think he's only had 1 conviction.
And
it was under. Oh, we'll get to that later. But
oh yeah,
it was at the McDonald's on Cleveland Avenue.
Oh, on that infamous night.
Yeah.
Wow, y'all, this McDonald's, we need to follow, see what's going on at this McDonald's that everyone goes to. All right, so Miles Farley's warrant. So, do you want to go over this, or you want me to read it? Okay, so okay. So the warrant states in this top part. So this is like the allegation section. The section under where it says probable cause, this will be what was argued to the judge in order for them to get the warrant granted. Okay, so one thing I saw off the bat that was different in Miles's case that I had not seen was that his warrants are issued by different officers. So that means that in this case, D. Diaz Taylor, is this the officer you were saying from the search, or this other one?
I mean, that's the arrest. That's the arrest.
Okay, so Officer Diaz Taylor, Unit 1851, is a part of, along with other Apex units, conducted a traffic stop. Like right off, that's weird as hell to me, because why are officers and units just randomly conducting traffic stops? Like the Apex unit has a specified reason that they're out, right? They're like looking for gang members, looking for drug dealers.
Yeah, it used to be called the Titan team. They were part of the May 9th raid as well.
Oh, they were part of the May 9th raid on Thug's house?
Yeah, they went in like with the SWAT team.
See? So they usually do that kind of operation. So it's really weird to me that they just made a traffic stop. So they probably were on the lookout for these individuals, not necessarily this day, but just period, waiting on somebody to slip up. And it occurred on March 6th. Okay, so the warrant at the top says between March 6th at 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. They were on Old Hateville Road, Southwest Atlanta, and they are saying that Miles Farley had in his possession or wingspan a Glock 17 9mm.
Wow. Wings?
No, right. So, because the law says it has to be within arm's reach. So that's their way of saying arm's reach in this warrant. And so they're saying that he was a passenger in a black sedan during a traffic stop. He's on first offender probation for violating Rico, that he was sentenced on December 17, 2024. And this tracking number is the OTN number from that case. All right, so that's the top part here. So the probable cause is where it starts to get, okay, so this one, I'm just going to kind of briefly go through it, and we're just going to talk about it, okay? So it's crazy. So Officer Diaz Taylor says he conducted a traffic stop, 2865 Old Hateville Road, on a black sedan bearing a Georgia tag. Y'all remember this tag number now. YXN 504. YXN 504. Okay, for window tint.
That's not a window. That's not a law, by the way. 4873-1. That's not a thing. That's
no. They didn't mess that up. When I saw 4887, I was like, wait a minute. James says right. That's I know. I'm going to look it up. Okay, let me see. Did they get this code section right? Let's see, y'all, because I'm gonna pull it up on the big screen if they're wrong, but let me just check this code section really quick.
I'm right about this one.
I know, right? They messed up so much stuff. We're gonna pick out all these errors, but so they say they pulled this car for window tint. Okay, so the law back in the day used to be that you could not make a pretextual stop, which means you're just basically pulling this car over for a bullshit reason, and you're gonna say tint so that you can search the car or just talk to the people that are driving because you believe that. You may be right, James, because that is not coming up. Let me see real quick.
You got pretty far. We got almost to the first sentence.
I know we're not even past the first sentence, guys, and this is coming up weird. Okay, so I'm gonna check this and see. Is this a real code section? No, it's not. They put it wrong. What is the window tint code section? Hold on, y'all.
It's close to that, but it's like
all of the it's 40-8-73. Okay, so they have 4873-1, and the code section really is 40-8-73. So off the rip, they have already cited the wrong code section for window tint violation with window tint violation in this warrant. So this is how we already starting off. Okay, y'all, James is writing this down, okay, because this was
I don't want to forget.
He doesn't want to forget. So this is error 1, okay? So we got the wrong code section for the reason you legitimately pulled over the car that Miles Farley is in. All right, so they say window tint. Although, as I'm reading this, I never hear them say they checked the window tint. So this is just what the officers are saying. All right. They say they exited the patrol vehicle and approached the passenger door to make contact with the driver and passenger. Get this. Upon speaking with the driver, he noticed that both individuals were not wearing their seatbelts. Is this the right seatbelt code?
It probably is 40-8.
Oh, yeah, because it's back to the 40. So they weren't wearing their seatbelts. So that is a violation. The officer identified himself, requested their identification. And remember, I told y'all, Georgia is an ID state. So if they request their identification in Georgia, you do have to turn that over or you will be charged with obstruction. And they advised the driver the reason for the stop, window tint. So this isn't speeding. They weren't swerving. They weren't seen doing a drug deal. They literally pulled them over allegedly for window tint.
This is the gang enforcement. Oh, not gang enforcement, but essentially
the Apex unit.
Yes.
So this is just not regular Officer Diaz. That's a part of just patrol unit. This is the Apex unit pulled this vehicle over for window tint.
Yeah, this is a gang stronghold in their
yeah, because they're in Hateville area and they put the wrong code section. That's how you know like people are up to no good because they start fucking shit up. The easy stuff. That's how you already know off to the bad start. All right, so the passenger was identified as Miles Farley, date of birth, while the driver was identified as Jaborius Greer.
That name gets spelled a lot of ways by Fulton County.
Yeah, and let me tell you, if they mess up your name, you got an AKA for life, okay? And we'll show y'all that on QUAY's on QUAY's sheet. They mess your name up, you stuck with it. So during the investigation, peep this, y'all. The officer says he saw marijuana flakes. What is that? What are marijuana flakes? Marijuana flakes, okay, on the middle console and on the floorboard of the vehicle. And based on the officer's training, knowledge, and experience, which they have to throw in now, the law requires them to prove that they have training and experience that allows them to recognize marijuana flakes.
Yeah, he's been eating marijuana flakes for breakfast since he was a kid.
Right, but I'm like, marijuana flakes like that? I have never seen it written as flakes. I have seen them sometimes say like shake on the ground or something, but like hemp is legal, so it could have been hemp, right? It didn't necessarily have to be something that was illegal. So anyway, that officer says he then asked if there were any narcotics or firearms in the car, to which both individuals answered by saying no.
So he just sees weed just strewn across the floor in the center console, and then he asked them if they have any drugs.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. Yeah,
that's how they do. Because they want to get you talking. And this is why I tell you all, be quiet. Right. Danielle says it could have been oregano. Right. They could have had some lemon pepper wings earlier, and it could have been the flakes from the wings. Like it could have just been anything, right? So go ahead, and they say, based on the information that I gathered, I requested both males to step out of the vehicle so that I could conduct a further investigation. At the same time, I'm speaking with the males. I had officers request K9 to his location to conduct an open air sniff of the vehicle. So what this tells me is he did not smell marijuana flakes. So they weren't giving off an odor. So because he couldn't say, I smell marijuana, he called K9 to see if they could alert on the vehicle, which would allow them to be able to search. Y'all see the games? Okay. So they call the K9 unit to the location, conducts the air sniff, and the K9, his dog Jumbo arrived on scene. I need my buzzer.
I ain't nothing against Jumbo.
All right. We love Jumbo. Okay. So after conducting the open air sniff, K9 Jumbo positively alerted the driver's side door of the vehicle. But aren't they going to find
which side?
The driver's side door. Okay, y'all peeped it. Remember, driver's side door. Oh, Kat, is it your birthday?
No.
Kat Knight Williams, is it your birthday? Happy birthday. Okay. We're going to have to celebrate you in just a second. All right. So let me keep reading. Okay, so after conducting the open air sniff, it alerted on the driver's side. Y'all remember now, driver's side. I then walked over to the driver's side and advised him on the next step, which was a search of the vehicle based on probable cause. While searching the vehicle, I recovered a Glock 17 9mm inside the glove compartment on the passenger side of the car. I also recovered a white pill with the markings T194 next to the passenger door.
Not
the driver door.
Pills?
A pill. A pill. One pill.
Possession of drug?
So a K9 dog can smell a pill?
Jumbo can.
Jumbo. I guess Jumbo alerted off the pill.
Jumbo's been doxies for years.
I'm like, Jumbo, it was so because usually we thinking a dog is gonna alert off of something like maybe I thought marijuana since it was flakes on the console, right?
Bacon on the driver's side door.
It's so crazy, but he said driver's side, but I'm gonna keep reading because I don't hear anything on the driver. No weed. Okay. I see they got a gun in the glove box and one pill. One pill next to the passenger door. And no mention of marijuana, right? Where's the marijuana that was on the floor? No mention, more mention of marijuana. I guess Jumbo licked it.
Jumbo ate it.
Jumbo ate it. He did a Google search of the pill and determined that it was oxycodone. Both males were then detained by placing city handcuffs on them. Okay, so both of them are detained. Now, detain and arrest is different. So they will detain you as they develop probable cause for your arrest. However, as an attorney, criminal defense attorney, we will argue that at the minute that you're detained and not free to leave, that you're under arrest. So we'll see if that matters in this case, but they're saying they were detained and both placed in cuffs, okay? He asked both males who the firearm belonged to, and neither took ownership. Right? Right? Okay, so nobody took ownership of the gun. They both stated they did not know that it was in the vehicle. I haven't heard who the vehicle was registered to. Have they said that?
We can check the tags later.
Yeah, we'll check the tags later and see whose car this is. So, because maybe they didn't, right? Maybe it's not their car.
Yeah.
So they conducted a criminal history inquiry and a status check, and the firearm came back not on file, which means it wasn't stolen because Georgia does not have a registry of weapons. So we don't have, like, you go purchase a weapon, you don't have to then register it somewhere. Now, wherever you purchased it from will keep a record of your purchase. And if your gun is ever stolen and you call the police and give them the VIN number of the stolen, now it's in the system, it's stolen. So when they run a gun and nothing comes back, it just means that it wasn't reported as stolen. That's all that it tells us. If it had come back as stolen, it would have been tied to a report, which we will also have a charge of theft by receiving stolen property. But we don't have that. So we don't know whose gun this was or who bought it at this point. Let's see. Okay, so they run the record. They see Miles Farley is charged. He's on first offender probation and for the RICO. And he's read his Miranda rights. Okay, so this is letting you know that the officer is wanting to question him. So he's read his Miranda rights, which we all know is you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do can be used against you in a court of law. So they read that to Miles and they asked him if he wanted to talk. He agreed to speak without his attorney present. My heart broke. Don't ever talk to the police. He asked him about the firearm and he denied knowing anything about it or being involved with the gun. The driver later stated that he would take ownership of the firearm if the officer let Miles Farley free, which indicates to the officer that they both knew the gun was inside the vehicle before the stop. So, because Greer says, if I'll take the gun if you let Miles Farley go, he says, oh, that y'all already knew the gun was in there. Like, I don't know that correlation, how that correlates,
I
but
wanted to just find out what others, just show him like other things and see what he thinks about it.
yeah,
I'm curious how this guy sees the world, because that doesn't make any sense.
I don't understand how one person saying, look, I'll take it, right? If you let him go, how that means that they both knew it was in there. But that's the leap that they told the judge, and that's what's in the warrant. Okay. So that's the first count. And I told you that this warrant was brought by Officer D.D.S. Taylor. Okay. And you all heard what we described in this case. Okay. We finna mess you up now. Because when I was reading this, I was like, who is this person? All right. So let's go to the second warrant. Scroll down. Oh, Judge Charles Simmons is the one who signed that warrant. And we're going to scroll down to warrant number 2. And this warrant, I should make you read this one. This is a good one. So James got a lot to say about this one.
Okay. Jay Storno.
Keep that. We're going to already see Jay Storno. So remember I told you that this person is the person who brings the warrant. So D.S. Taylor brought the other warrant. I can't remember a case I've had where different officers have brought the warrants from the same incident, but that's what we got here. Okay.
You never seen a gang unit investigator write a warrant out on a traffic stop for window tints?
Yeah, never had the gang unit get involved on the window tint stop.
Right. We get James Storno, same info at the top. So now he's charging unlawful for, it's a gang count, criminal street gang to participate in criminal street activity.
Young Slime Life is the gang.
Yep. The accused unlawfully was employed or associated with a criminal street gang, YSL, a local subset of sex money murder. I remember that being was that alleged previously?
Yeah, I thought it was the other way around.
I thought SMM was,
but anyway.
To conduct or participate in criminal gang activity through the commission of a crime. I hate the way they charge the way that statute works, but enumerated in paragraph J. Specifically, a criminal offense in the state of Georgia that involves violence, possession of a weapon, or the use of a weapon. The activity involved the criminal offense of possession of a firearm by a first offender probationer, during which, does that make sense? During which, he was.
Oh yeah.
So the activity was possessing a gun, and during that activity, he was possessing a gun. Got it.
This warrant is crazy already.
Anyway, so now we're going to switch over to Mr. Johnson. Who is Mr. Johnson? It doesn't matter.
Do y'all see that? Like, let's read that again. So this sentence says the activity involved the criminal offense of possession of a firearm by a first offender probationer, during which Miles Farley was unlawfully in possession of a Glock 17 9mm. Comma. Mr. Johnson's documented affiliation with YSL. Who is Mr. Johnson? Who the fuck is Mr.
Songs? No, Mr. Jones.
I know, like Mike Jones. Who is Mr. Johnson? Who is Mr. Johnson, y'all? Who is Mr. Johnson? This warrant just switched from talking about Miles Farley to Mr. Johnson.
Trying to find out who Mr. Johnson was.
Right.
I was going through like the Fulton County Jail arrest, like Johnson, and then I went through like the Odyssey trying to find a Johnson.
You know what? I saw with Johnson, Antonio Johnson, and I think Quamarvious Nichols warrant. Maybe it's, I don't know. We don't know who Mr. Johnson is, okay? But Mr. Johnson is now in this warrant.
Do you think his is like my switch is like Mr. Farley?
Right. I don't know. So Mr. Johnson's documented affiliation with YSL. Okay, go on.
All right. Coupled with his presence in a gang-controlled location while armed, demonstrates his active participation in advancing YSL's criminal objectives. Okay. Possessing a loaded firearm. I feel like we're just going to repeat the same sentence. Possessing a loaded firearm in furtherance of gang-related activities aligns with YSL's established pattern of using weapons. Possessing aligns with use. Okay, anyway. Established pattern of using weapons to protect and promote their illicit operations. That's the same sentence you just said. These actions, we're going to do it again, aren't we?
Yeah.
These actions highlight Mr. Johnson's role in perpetuating gang dominance, securing the gang's operational strongholds.
Yeah. Mr. Johnson. Who is Mr. Johnson? Who is Johnson? Somebody says, oh, yeah, that was Johnson on Drink's car, right? Yeah, like, who is Mr. Johnson and why is he in this warrant? You know why? Because this warrant should not have been brought. And when you do funky business, you do funny shit that you shouldn't do, you mess up. This is a cut and paste. It has to be.
Oh, of course.
This is a cut and paste warrant. Like, this is the standard warrant that they use for everyone in YSL. I guess I don't even know who Mr. Johnson is, or is he involved? Okay, so Catnap Williams says Mr. Johnson is Quez's alternate name. Who is Quez?
Quez Johnson.
Quez Johnson. Who is that?
I know. Did you see the little Mike and Quez thing?
Oh, Mike and Quez. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I thought there's missing. There's actually a missing Quez the other day.
Oh, okay. So that's Quez. So that's a Mr. Johnson. So
we'll call him Mike.
Maybe that's who it is. So was he in the car too? I don't know, but this warrant talks about Mr. Johnson. That is wild to me. Right. And a judge signed this. This is crazy.
We need it.
That's crazy.
I'm not gonna put that sentence. Okay. Now we're gonna see what the.
Oh yeah. Now we get
a different perspective from somebody who wasn't there.
Yeah.
On March 6th at approximately 5:10, Officer Diaz Taylor and members of the Atlanta Proactive Enforcement and Interdiction Unit, which for some reason is called Apex. I don't see an X anywhere in there, but we're conducting proactive enforcement along the Cleveland Avenue corridor in South Atlanta.
But no, Diaz was just making a traffic stop because of the window tint.
Proactive enforcement.
But now this warrant says they were out there purposely conducting proactive enforcement along the Cleveland Avenue corridor.
The way they were conducting the proactive enforcement was just by passively observing. Okay. This location is well known, nothing's well known to law enforcement for its high rate of violent crime and narcotics distribution, particularly, that's a sentence, criminal street gang activity primarily controlled by members of the YSL gang. Okay. While patrolling the area, Diaz Taylor conducted a traffic stop. Oh, we gotta get this part.
Oh no!
On a black Ford Mustang bearing Georgia tag YHM162 for a violation of the corporation's code.
Right, the wrong section. Wait a minute. Black Ford Mustang. That's not what they said the car was. Where did Ford Mustang come from? And then that's a different tag number.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all, we're going to go back and look now. I'm taking y'all back up to the warrant I read. I said black sedan. And I said tag number YXN 504. But the gang detective says it was a black Ford Mustang with Georgia tag YHM 162. What in the what is going on?
YSL, YFN, YXM, YHW.
What is going on? Which car was it? So now they're saying it was a Ford Mustang with a different tag. How are they messing this up? And why is a judge signing off on a warrant where the car tag is not even the same in both warrants? Y'all, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like, this is the shit that happens.
The next sentence is different too.
Let me go back to the screen, y'all. I cannot. This is crazy. This is crazy.
You think? I mean, did they not copy and paste this part?
No. So yeah, right. Because this is a whole different officer, right? This is not the officer that made the arrest. This is not Taylor. This is a gang detective.
Joseph Stornow.
Yeah. And was he involved in something else?
Yeah, he was involved in stealing the Richard Mill RM01 Bubba Watson white ceramic watch with a pink band.
So he was in the house with Vivarito?
He was.
So he was in the house with Vivarito.
Sorry, my body just got possessed by Doug.
He was in the house with Vivarito when they were looking at the watch in Thug's house. And now he's taking out this warrant, calling it a different kind of car with a different tag number for Miles Farley. Y'all, oh my God. Like Cat Williams said, they cannot even copy and paste right. Like, because you're doing dirt, this is what happens. This is what happens. Right.
Did you see my tweet yesterday about they were honoring Pat Summitt, the basketball coach, but they spelled her name wrong in the tweet? That was funny. I thought that was
hilarious. This is crazy. Okay, so
all right, we're going to get to the next line. Upon approaching the passenger side, Officer Diaz-Taylor observed that neither occupant was wearing a seatbelt. That's not what it said in the last one. It said, after speaking to the driver, Diaz-Taylor noticed that they weren't wearing the seatbelt.
And wrong code section. No. Right code section for the seatbelt, still wrong code section for the tent.
Yeah. Upon approaching the passenger side, Diaz-Taylor observed that neither occupant was wearing a seatbelt in violation of the seatbelt law. The officer identified himself and requested identification from both individuals while informing the driver of the reason for the stop. The driver was Jabarius Greer and Miles Farley was the passenger. During the interaction, Diaz-Taylor observed, I love this part, observed what appeared to be lowercase marijuana flakes scattered on the center console and floorboard of the vehicle. Based on what he felt like, this raised suspicion of possible, I'm sorry, that's still funny to me. Based on training knowledge and experience in observing marijuana, it raised suspicion of possible narcotics possession. When asked if there were any firearms or illegal substances inside the vehicle, both individuals denied possessing any contraband. Given the presence of suspected marijuana residue, did it say residue last?
No, it did not.
Okay. Given the presence of suspected marijuana residue in the occupant's statements, both individual. Wait, only one. Did they both make? Yeah, they did. Both individuals were asked to exit the vehicle to allow for further investigation. A request was also made for a canine unit to respond to the scene and conduct an open air sniff.
And here comes Jumbo.
I love Jumbo. Officer Pagan arrived shortly thereafter. I don't know, shortly thereafter was in the last one. But arrived shortly thereafter with Jumbo. The canine performed an open air sniff and positively alerted to the driver's side door of the vehicle, indicating the presence of narcotics. Based on this positive alert, Diaz-Taylor advised both occupants. It's not what it said last time either. It said driver, right?
Yep.
Okay. It said advise both occupants that a probable cause search of the vehicle would be conducted.
A little different wording. Mm-hmm.
Yep. No, I mean, more okay. During the search, a Glock 17 was discovered inside the glove compartment. Also not on the driver's side. That hasn't changed.
All right.
Additionally, a white pill with the markings T194 was found on the passenger side floor near the door. It's like there was a dirty oxy just under this, like hairs on it.
I know, he's like that old piece of candy down in your church purse.
A pill identifier search. So we're not mentioning Google anymore. It was a pill identifier search now. Confirmed that the pill was oxycodone, a Schedule II controlled substance. Both individuals were immediately detained. No mention of city handcuffs.
No handcuff mention. Yeah. So were they handcuffed or were they not? I don't know. This one says just detained.
So. Yeah. When in question about the firearm, neither Greer nor Farley claimed ownership, both stating they were unaware of the presence of the vehicle. A criminal history check was conducted on both individuals, along with a status inquiry on the firearm. Again, the firearm wasn't on file. The background check revealed that Mr. Farley was currently on first offender in connection with the Rico, and he pleaded guilty on December 17th. Greer was previously convicted, but they don't mention that. Let me see. Diaz-Taylor read Mr. Farley's Miranda rights, which he acknowledged and voluntarily waived, agreeing to speak without an attorney present. When asked about the firearm, again, Mr. Farley denied any knowledge of it. It's funny that they read him the Miranda and then asked him the same question.
Right.
It's almost like they knew they missed. When asked about the firearm, Mr. Farley denied any knowledge of it or involvement with firearms. However, Mr. Farley was seated in the front passenger seat, directly adjacent to and within arm's reach of the glove compartment where the firearm was located.
That's weird.
Just being in, so he had a glove compartment within arm's reach.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's whatever.
I don't know.
That's not a glove compartment. It's not a firearm.
No.
Given its close proximity and ease of access, now we get the passive voice switch.
Yeah.
This is what you got to watch out for every time. Given its close proximity and ease of access, it was determined By whom? That Mr. Farley had constructive possession of the firearm.
All right, who made that determination?
Not a judge.
Not a judge, and their officers aren't lawyers. Like, what? This is crazy. This is crazy.
Further supporting this conclusion, whose conclusion? Mr. Greer later offered to take responsibility for the firearm in exchange for Mr. Farley's release. And you're going to say it again, aren't you? An action that strongly suggested both individuals were aware of the firearm's presence before the stop.
That's crazy. But this goes on so much more, y'all, than the other warrant. You want me to tap in?
Let me finish this part.
Okay.
Based on the totality of the circumstances, if you say that, it means it's okay.
Yeah.
Totality of the circumstances, including the location of the firearm, Mr. Farley's criminal history, and the exchange between the two occupants.
What exchange was between them?
Probably just sarcastic glances, I would guess.
Yeah, no mention of an exchange between the parties, unless they're saying when Greer says, I'll take, but he's talking to the officer at that point, so I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. Mr. Farley was placed into custody. Oh, now he's placed into custody after being handcuffed and Mirandized. End question.
Yeah.
In charge with possession of a firearm by a first offender probationer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would later be much
later.
Would be transported and booked into Fulton County Jail. The recovered firearm was booked into police property as evidence. You know, I was looking at a case where the police took a gun into evidence and then they destroyed it and then they introduced it at trial.
Who was the prosecutor? Say it. Say it. Say it. Who was the prosecutor?
I can't remember her name because she didn't call me today. So.
Oh, y'all! I am scrolling back up so y'all can see this up here. Why does this say on here on this his booking sheet that the arrest time was 9:11 p.m.? Weren't they pulled over at 5:15?
Yeah, the arrest is 9:11, and then the jail intake at the top right is 4:54 in the morning.
How does that happen, y'all? So for what? I don't know. I would love to interview Miles. How long were they standing on the side of the road? Like, so they're pulled over at 5:15. The K9 comes right out. Yeah. Seems like a quick 1-2, right? I mean, they found a pill
in the car and drove over there as soon as he heard.
But they're not booked in. He's not, but the arrest isn't noted until 9:11 p.m. and then not booked in at 4:54 a.m. What? I don't.
It's like, yeah, they took him out to the Sally Port. He waived all his rights off camera, and then he came back in.
Yeah, it sounds a little suspicious. But this warrant gets even worse.
It gets stupid.
It gets stupid because it starts to, when we go through the rest of this warrant, it almost feels like we're getting ready for YSL 3. Because they lay out everything about why YSL, they believe it's a gang, all of the stuff that they allegedly did in the past, all of that shit is in this warrant. This is ridiculous, y'all.
Yeah, it's filled with lies too. Like,
oh yeah, we're gonna get into it. So okay. Yeah, let's go through it. So the gang investigation part starts next. Oh, got a super chat from Cloak and Glomar. Sends a $10 super chat. Shout out. Says LEK9s don't alert on pills like that. They can't train dog on the multitude of binding agents used to press different pills. His training records will show he's trained on 3 to 5 senses max. I've heard that before. So was he even trained to find oxycodone? And didn't we think it was going to be marijuana with the flakes?
Later, you should Google Glomar and read into that. It's the whole thing. It's
okay. It's over my head.
It's a crazy story.
Oh, okay, okay. So Cloak and Glomar. Okay, all right. CIA over here.
Yeah, it's Howard Hughes. It's the craziest story.
Well, shout out for the support, Cloak and Glomar. Greatly appreciate that, and thank you for that knowledge. Like, what did the dog allegedly alert on? I can't wait till Miles's attorneys pull his records to see what he's even trained on. And what if it's something they didn't even find? Is it valid? I don't know. I never trust those alerts of the dogs anyway. No. I never trust them.
I mean, you can just train them to alert.
Yeah, and then who knows they alert, right? Because it's not like alert has it looks the same on every dog. So
my dog alerts on me every time I come.
All right. How do we know if the dog's truly alerting? So, y'all, this warrant then gets into a gang investigation. Do y'all see how long this is? So it says the individuals and their roles within the gang. Why are we talking about a gang when they were simply pulled over for a window tint violation that they quoted the statute wrong on? And who is in the gang? Because the gang was about Mr. Johnson. So who are they talking about in here if Mr. Johnson was the one that was in the gang? And Mr. Johnson wasn't arrested. It was Miles Farley and Quamarvious Nichols. I don't know. But it says, myself and members of the Atlanta Police Department's gangs and Special Investigations Unit have extensive knowledge of both Mr. Farley and Mr. Greer, who are confirmed and documented members of the Young Slime Life Criminal Street Gang.
I've seen their documentation.
What is the documentation? The plea on Rico?
It's been shredded.
So crazy.
The hack got it.
Yeah, right. Maybe it's the clothing line, the slime. This is ridiculous. Both individuals have actively promoted their gang affiliation through social media, regularly displaying firearms, flashing gang and hand signs, and associating with other YSL members. Why are they bringing up old shit? Like, this was a part of the trial we just finished. If I took a plea on something and you're not introducing new evidence of me participating, why is all of the old shit that I already dealt with in my new warrant? Oh, because it belongs to Mr. Johnson? I don't know. Y'all, this is just starting out sounds like we're going into YSL 3. Okay, so it says their online activity frequently references illegal activities, including drug distribution, serving both as recruitment tools and intimidation tactics. That's
the stupidest sentence that's ever been written.
He just took a plea December 17th. What is Miles done in the last 3 months that did any of this?
We should go through this carefully. Their online activity. What does that mean?
Who is there?
Who is there?
Is it Greer and Johnson and Miles? Who is their online activity?
Maybe they have like a shared account.
I have no clue. Like, what social media? What is? I don't know.
It frequently references illegal activities. What illegal activities?
And drug distribution. So they're posting pictures of them selling drugs.
Yeah, but that's just one of them, including drug distribution. Their online activity frequently references drug distribution.
Now this is
serving as recruitment tools. Okay, that's plural. So their activity serves as recruitment tools and intimidation tactics.
Makes no sense. Their online activity does all that.
Mr. Johnson would have written a better warrant affidavit than this.
Yes. For always, forever, for life says, I am never coming to Georgia. Their PD cannot be trusted. Their judicial system cannot be trusted. This is frightening. My sister bought a house out there. She has 2 sons. I'm terrified for them. I am too, sis. It's crazy. When the window tint led to gang investigation, and now all your old affiliations that you already resolved in the plea December 17th is back in a new warrant, although you haven't done anything new. It says, beyond mere affiliation, their online presence strongly suggests active participation in YSL's criminal operations. What is YSL actively doing? Everybody is in jail, on probation, gone.
I get it. Their online presence. He's talking about the court TV footage of the case.
Oh, God. Their testimony, their plea. That's what it is. That's what it is, y'all. Their online presence strongly suggests active participation. What has he actively done in 3 months? Nothing.
He's clothed them.
Oh, God. He rode in a car. Both Farley and Greer have posted images and videos showcasing large sums of cash while in possession of firearms. When? That's old shit. If it even happened. That's old stuff, y'all.
Wait, so they posted images while possessing firearms?
Yeah, so I'm posting a picture while so was it a picture of a firearm? This is horribly written, and it's horribly written because it shouldn't be written. They're never talking to us now. We're never getting that meeting. All right, so let's see. So they have posted images and videos showcasing large sums of cash while in possession of firearms, indicating direct involvement with drug trafficking. Y'all, that shows drug trafficking. Many of these images feature them alongside known YSL members engaging in activities that further the gang's influence. including taunting rival gangs and brandishing weapons. Y'all, what does this sound like? The trial we just had. Why is this in the warrant? Their presence in YSL controlled areas along Cleveland Avenue, a stronghold for the gang's narcotic trade, further solidifies their status as active members rather than peripheral affiliates.
I take it back. Earlier I said that this was the stupidest sentence.
This is the stupidest.
I think I have to retract that.
Y'all, this is crazy. Yeah, Danielle says you don't need APD to do your investigation for case. They all have squirrel brains. This is a prime example. Why are we reliving? Like, you already had one shot. You don't get a chance to do it again. You're gonna do it again with Miles and a gun in a glove compartment over a window tint?
This is narcotics trade, and they technically only had narcotic.
They had one pill.
Yeah.
One pill that was allegedly an oxycodone. One pill, and that's a drug trafficking trade. Additionally, Farley and Greer have been repeatedly observed in photos with other documented YSL members, reinforcing their deep ties within the organization. That's the same as the previous paragraph and the one before that. Yeah. Their content often glorifies acts of violence, celebrates retaliation against rivals, and memorializes deceased YSL members. Practices commonly used to instill fear and maintain control.
I approve of celebrating retaliation against rivals.
This is 2025, y'all. When has any of this allegedly occurred?
How does memorializing deceased YSL members
Who knows?
instill fear and maintain control?
Of what? Control of what? Their continued public display of weapons is not merely for self-protection, but a deliberate statement of the gang's power. Y'all, who are they talking about? What recently has happened? This is crazy.
I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
Brian Steele's fault, whatever it is, though.
Yeah. Mr. Farley is also the self-proclaimed originator of the Make America Slime Again clothing line, which is primarily worn by members of the YSL gang.
You know who also proclaims it?
When?
The originator? The Georgia Secretary of State. You can look it up.
This is crazy, y'all. How can you arrest me for a new offense and bring up everything that was in the trial that already got resolved? Mr. Farley has a criminal history that reflects his deep involvement, but this was his first. I thought this was his first conviction. Okay, anyway. His criminal history reflects a deep involvement in YSL's illegal activities. On May 9th, 2022, Mr. Farley and 29 documented YSL gang members were charged in a 56-count indictment in Fulton County. Y'all, the case we all watched, they are referencing this as if they convicted everybody of everything. Oh, Mr. Farley was charged with violating the Georgia RICO Act, murder, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and 2 counts of participating in criminal street gang activity.
He was charged.
He was charged now. We all know how it resolved. As detailed earlier, on December 17, 2024, Mr. Farley ultimately pleaded guilty to violating RICO and was sentenced to 5 years probation.
Love this part.
What happened to the murder? What happened to the other stuff that y'all dismissed? During his plea, Mr. Farley acknowledged that there was sufficient evidence that could have been presented to a jury to conclude his guilt. Of what? Of what? Why you let him plea out if y'all could have found him guilty? And could they really? Y'all heard from the jurors? Where's Rico?
That's what I'm trying to find.
Nobody got convicted of murder. Nobody. Yet got not guilty of everything he was charged with. Y'all, this is making me hot. This is crazy. During his, Mr. Greer has a criminal record consistent.
Oh, wait, no, Kat said something.
What did she say?
She said he pleaded guilty to violating the RICO. That's not true. It was the conspiracy charge. It wasn't actually violating it.
Yeah, so he conspiring.
Part of it,
yeah, conspiring is what he pled guilty to. Yes, look, Fit is getting turned up. Okay, this is ridiculous, Red Bunny. This is ridiculous. Mr. Greer has a criminal record consistent with YSL's pattern of illegal activities, including vehicle theft, aggravated assault, firearm offenses, and gang-related crimes. Check it, y'all. He's so bad. On November 11, 2015, 10 years ago, he was charged with armed robbery, ag assault, and cruelty to children. 10 years ago. after he and 2 other documented YSL gang members robbed an individual at gunpoint. Is this old shit?
Let me see. Charge.
Old shit.
It says charged. So, and it gives a case number.
But that's an APD case number. That's not even a criminal case number. So did he get charged? Was it indicted?
I know that the 2016 case was his first case, his first conviction. So
this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Even 2016 cases.
On September 2nd, 2016, Mr. Grin, another documented YSL gang member, was arrested and charged with theft by receiving auto, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, possession of a firearm under 18, criminal trespass, and obstruction. He later pled guilty to the offenses under the First Offender Act.
That was an offer plea.
Oh, and it was an offer plea. Y'all, the warrant goes on. And on. Talking about the game. I'm not reading all that.
No.
Yeah, we're not reading all that. But look, that just shows you a simple stop due to a window tint is now a gang investigation of criminal gang activity. And almost sounds like the introduction to YSL 3.
It kind of sounds like a you know, sitcoms used to do those like clip episodes.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
It kind of seems like that.
This is so crazy, y'all. This is why it's best to stay out of the system, because once you're in, it's just steady manipulation. A window tint pullover by the Apex unit.
Actually, no, I just know. So in 2016, Greer was 17. He was 17 at his guilty plea hearing. So in 2015, he was 16. So seeing cruelty to children, I don't know. I suspect that might be a mistaken identity as well.
Yeah.
So I remember looking for it.
Well, what they're probably saying is that there were kids in the home or around whenever the armed robbery happens. Yeah. Y'all, this warrant still goes on and on. Talks about criminal street gang activity and other stuff all over window tint and allegedly a gun in the glove box. 2 different vehicles, 2 different tag numbers, and who the hell is Mr. Johnson? I have no clue. I have no clue. This is so sad. So he will deal with and the other charge is, and we're not going to read through this warrant either, but it's another copy and paste. And it is, so the first one was criminal street gang. And this one is saying that possession of the weapon was done to obtain, earn membership, maintain, or increase status within YSL. Come on, like, yes, shut the fuck up and take the ride. Here comes drama. Yes, like, we don't talk to the police. That's what she's referencing. But this shit, right? This is wild to me. The fact that the warrants have so many errors. We don't know who Mr. Johnson is.
I'm sorry, I'm still laughing at it.
2 different tag numbers. So which car? This is ridiculous. A dog allegedly alerts of a marijuana flakes that no reference of marijuana flakes taken from the vehicle. So I don't know that they really exist when they went in the car. They don't say anything else about them. It just sounds like real shady to me. What you think?
That's the nicest way you could possibly put it.
I mean, you know, I'm a Southern Belle, so, you know, throw a little niceness on it. Although we do curse over here, but you know,
ridiculous.
Yeah,
I can't believe a judge.
Yeah, they're mostly the same. So, but it's ridiculous. They're targeting them. So this is why they threw probation out of everybody, because they're sitting back waiting to see if they can get you in another case. I think Woody has been pulled over several times. Thank God he doesn't have new charges. But this is it. They're really going to have to live their lives. I don't know, outside of Atlanta. And this is why when I went over Thug's plea deal, I felt like Judge Whitaker really helped him by saying he had to stay outside of Metro Atlanta, because she already knows how it works. She knows what they're going to do. Yes, with the Trakeisha McNeil, with the warrant errors, does Miles have a leg to stand on? He has an argument. One, he wasn't driving. I don't know whose vehicle it was. To me, it's not his vehicle, so he has a great fight. Greer could take responsibility still if they were both charged with the same thing, and only one person can possess a weapon. So if Greer takes a plea, then they could dismiss
even
it.
Throwing all this stuff out, there's still the possession issue.
Yeah.
And they're saying he had constructive possession, but there's nothing to suggest that he had constructive possession. There's no reason to believe he knew about it. There's no reason to believe that he intended to exercise control over it. I mean,
yeah,
it's just, and also if you take a gun into somebody else's car, you're not going to put it in the glove box. You put it like under the seat or somewhere you could get at it. You're not going to put that. Just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's the extra step. If I got into the car with it, it's going to stay on me, and then he can ask for a fingerprint test. That's what I would do. I had a case like this before. I asked for fingerprint test. My client's fingerprints didn't come back on the gun. Dismissed. Like, you have to prove that I had some connection to this weapon. How long was he even in the vehicle? Do we even know? Like, he literally could have just got in the car and is pulled over a minute later.
I was just saying, Ayana's comment, whoever's car it is takes that gun charge. That'd probably be true, but now they've already sworn in 3 different affidavits that it was Miles Farley's gun. So if they go and charge Greer on it now, their attorney's going to say, look at these 15 pages that you spent saying it was somebody else's. So
right. Yeah, and then too, got an equal access argument, because if Greer wasn't arrested, as Miles' attorney, I'm arguing equal access because somebody else in the car had equal access. So if you didn't arrest them, then you can't charge me. So that's why I'm under the belief that they probably both were arrested. Yes, he can. I've had cases where people have, because guess what? He can go to trial. Miles can go to trial. And if Greer comes in and testifies that the weapon is his, then that's doubt for the jury, right? And so they'll acquit. And if the state chooses to, they could charge him. A lot of times when you present an alternate person, they'll say, okay, are they going to take the charge? And they'll like to go ahead and switch him out at the same time. So that's an option. FFS says at Fit Lawyer ATL that YXN, why do I want to keep saying F? 504, that's more of an SUV. It's a Ford Mach electric vehicle, not a Mustang GT, the sports coupe. See? So different vehicles. The first warrant said it was a black sedan. So a sedan and a Ford Mustang are not the same. So we don't know what kind of car, whose car it really was.
How many like it's a 2-door car? Because they say next to the driver's side door, the passenger.
So Greer was not arrested. Wow. So how did Miles end up being the only one arrested when the officer said he knew that both of them knew the gun was there, because Greer said he would take responsibility?
Yeah, and
maybe Greer he can legally possess a weapon because he's not a felon, because he completed his first offender. So that's the only reason. That's why Miles got arrested only. Okay, yeah.
What about the oxy?
Yeah, but what about the pill?
And the window tint.
But they didn't charge they didn't charge Miles with the pill either. So
I'm going to charge for something under the seat, but you can charge something in the glove box.
Right. It's crazy. So games. So that's our update on Miles. Did you have any other errors? Did we cover them all?
Oh, I thought I found this case that was exactly on point, and then I shared it with Kat, and she was like, I think Thugger Daily posted that already, and I looked, and he had found it like 3 weeks before. But there's a case from, I think, 2021 that it says it found that a gun under the seat was not constructively possessed, absent evidence of actual knowledge of the gun, and it's essentially perfectly on point. And,
so there you go. So that constructive possession is hard to prove. And so if they don't have the facts to make it out, it'll eventually go away. So that could be the reason that they haven't done the probation revocation. And sometimes too, when I have cases where I'm pretty confident that I can get the new charge dismissed, I'll work with probation and say, hey, hold your warrant up. Let's just see how this plays out. If I get it dismissed, hey, you can't revoke anyway. If we lose it and take a plea, then come back and revoke at that point. So that could be, something that they're doing on that one.
I think that, remember when I said at the start was that they're afraid to put this in front of Judge Whitaker. If she sees Mr. Johnson, I think she will lose her mind.
Yes. And the warrant, like, come on, you got to fix that. And a judge signed off on it, which lets me to believe, like, these judges, they're not really reading. They're just letting the officer present evidence to them, and they're just signing off on it. They don't question things. They didn't even see the 2 different tag numbers. It's really weird. And were the warrants presented at the same time? I didn't even check the time. Like, they're different times that they were presented. And that's just the games they play, y'all. So that's the update on Mr. Farley. So there's another update. Y'all remember the YSL case kind of ended with #FreeQUAY, right? we're saying free QUAY, y'all. It's free QUAY all day. Shout out to Quamarvious Nichols. Shout out to China Nichols, my first guest on my first live ever, October 28th. I'll never forget it. We are still going to hang out when I come back outside. But guys, I don't know when Mr. Nichols is going to be out.
It's gonna be a while.
It's going to be a while. We were thinking like 9 months, right? It's not looking like that. So I just want to do a really quick show of what's going on with Mr. Nichols and why he still got some stuff going on. And so let me find it, y'all. Okay, so at the time that Quamarvious Nichols took a plea on at the wait a minute, have I shared? Let me hit share of the plea. He was on probation for 2 different cases. It was a 17 SC 153307 case and 18 SC 162953. He was on probation, and if you all checked out that live, if you didn't, go back and watch it. It was amazing. But China talked about how he had probation and it was supposed to be all resolved with his plea for the YSL case, right? This is another game that Fulton County and the justice system plays. He, at the time that he entered his plea, and I'm going to pull up his jail screen just so I can show you all what I mean. Okay, so it's already pulled up. Let me just share that so you can see what I don't know. Did I do that right? Because basically he was sent to prison with open cases. And if anybody has ever been in custody before, you know what going down the road with open cases does. It holds up your parole. You have to come back eventually to the county jail to deal with your other charges. And it just causes a delay. I don't know if I can, let me see if I can blow this. Oh, wrong screen. It's doing something. Hold on, y'all. See if I can blow this screen up. Okay. Oh, there it is. All right, so I'm trying to make this big enough so you all can see this. So this is, anybody can go to Google Fulton County Jail inmate search, and you can type his name in and it'll come up. And the different spellings.
The possession of firearm and disorderly conduct. I can tell you right now that's some BS.
Yeah, some BS. So you'll see that on this side is charges that when he was arrested, originally for what was his first charge? Oh, he was arrested for the murder first, and then his RICO was added. But this is everything that was on his jail screen when he was arrested, right? And if you'll notice, this first case, 18 SC 162953, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, disorderly conduct. It says transferred to another agency with pending charges. So what that means is he had a pending warrant for that case for probation revocation due to the RICO case, and they transferred him to Department of Corrections without handling that case. So it's still open. I'm gonna scroll down some, and you will see the same with S17 SC 153307. It says that's the case, and it says transferred to another agency with pending charges. That again is a revocation that's pending, and I'm gonna show you both of those, that petition. And then you see stuff was dismissed. Some of the charges were dismissed that he was pending in the YSL case. And then down here at the bottom, we have an EW number. So EW is a pending warrant, which means at the time it has not been indicted yet. That is the new indictment that came down, I believe, in February, that he is pending court for new charges. That is what that is. And so that transferred to another agency with pending charges. So when he got sent down the road to Jackson, and I think he's in the one that starts with a C, Calhoun, I believe, is where he's being housed. He still had things that were pending and unresolved, which means they're not going to parole him out with pending things, because they're going to hold you and flag you and cause your parole time to be extended. Okay. So this first warrant here is the 17 SC case. This original offenses was possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession with intent to distribute other drugs, and violation of motor vehicle laws.
That sounds familiar. That's what we literally just looked at.
Yeah. Same case that we just kind of looked at, right? And so this is a warrant.
Criminal law.
That's the only thing they put up there. So this is the warrant that was issued. And mind you, y'all see the dates on this stuff now. He was still in Fulton County's custody when this happened. So this is a warrant. It says that on March 14, 2022, he committed the offenses of murder, unlawful for person employed by associated with criminal street gang, another unlawful street gang charge. So those were his charges from the YSL 1 case. This warrant was signed. This little notary stamp is March 18, 2022. So shortly after his arrest, meaning like 4 days after his arrest, this warrant was issued. Why wasn't this handled before he was sent down the road? Is still pending.
Why is it notarized a year later?
Danielle, I did too. Danielle says, what the hell? I thought Harvey got a global resolution for all of these with his YSL plea deal. If you all will go back and watch that live, I asked because I said I did not hear a global anything in the plea before the judge. Judge Whitaker only took a plea to the YSL case. Yeah. Now, there may have been talk that it will resolve, but you have to actually have a judge issue an order or say that from the bench in order for that to be included. It was not included.
You know, if you know how when you're doing the guilty plea, they say, do you have any other warrants? If you listen to what Harvey says, he says, are you aware of any open warrants? And he says, no open warrants in this case, or something like that.
Yeah. So he didn't have any warrants in this case, but he had 2 other open warrants.
So why is it notarized over a year later?
You know, I think that's the notary stamp expiration date.
That's like a certified copy or something.
No. It says my commission expires on that date. Oh. That I know. Yeah, that's what that says. So that's the date. That 2023 is the date that the commission expires for the person that notarized this. But it was issued by Judge Carnesdale in 2022, y'all. Before he was gone. I got another one. 2018. Here's this petition.
Kat, I don't know what you're talking about, but yes.
Oh,
yes, it was.
Yes, his name was okay. He has like 50 million. I'm going to show you his screen. They have his name spelled 20 million different ways, and whenever that happens, it gives you an AKA. So yeah, it's all wrong. So this petition was filed September 12, 2022, and this is for the 18 SC 162953 case. This says that Mr. Nichols pled guilty in 2020 to possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. He was sentenced to serve 5 years. It was balance probated. Because he did 336 days. He was placed on probation. It ran concurrent with count 1. So this talks about the sentence he's on. This section says he violated because on March 14, 2022, he was arrested for the YSL charges. And so that was a violation of that probation. And this warrant was issued September 1st, 2022. Also, and it was signed by the judge September 7th. So this is a second pending warrant that still has to be resolved before he can be paroled out. Okay. Also is the new charge, and we are let me see. Oh, you know what? I think that's over here. I got everybody's stuff. All right, let's see. Is this his warrant? Sorry, y'all, we're moving. This computer's moving. I think this is his warrant. Is this it? Come on. Okay, so this is the warrant for Mr. Nichols. New charges. Now, these are not the revocation. This is the charge that he was sent down the road that was still pending. That's called a riot in penal institution. Y'all, the riot. When y'all hear what his allegation is, you're gonna be like, "What?" Okay, so this is one with some other people from the game. So this warrant says that allegedly this occurred May 14th, 2023 at 11 a.m. between 11 a.m. and 11:45. It says that detention officer Sweeney was assigned to 5 South, which is a floor at the prison. The jail, Fulton County Jail, Wright Street. She was on the 7 to 7 shift. She responded after responding to an emergency incident on the 4th floor, zone 500. She was heading back to her assigned floor, which was 5. Upon entering the 903 door, she overheard loud commotions coming from a zone. So if you haven't ever been to Rice Street, you don't know how it's designed, but on each floor, there's a north and a south. And let's say this is the south wing. There in that wing is different doors that lead to different pod sections. And so this big door is 903. And then when you go into that door, there are individual cells within those doors. Okay. So she noticed that upon entering 903, she heard loud commotions coming from the zone. As she entered the floor, she noticed the zone doors to zone 400 and 500 open and inmates were fighting. She radioed for additional officers. She next witnessed inmate Garland, Joe Garland. Does he come up in the trial? YSL? Okay, Joe Garland with what appeared to be a metal pipe, which could be used as a weapon. Y'all know they're taking the pipes and shit out the walls.
I had they added the inmates were fighting, and one of them had a metal pipe.
A metal pipe, which could be a weapon, right? She upholstered her taser. Right, that's not even a word. She upholstered her Fulton County taser, not even the right word, and gave the serial number and deployed one cycle into Garland's upper chest area. It was effective.
She deployed one cycle into his upper chest. She tased him.
Why are you trying to make it sound all, No, she tased him. So while waiting for assistance, she continued to give loud verbal commands to both zones to drop weapons.
I would have given commands to the inmates. Maybe that's what went
wrong. Maybe that was wrong. Because she's just giving it to the zones, right? Yeah. We'll give it to the inmates. Once additional officers arrived, they were able to regain control of the floor. Both cell searches and individual inmate searches were conducted for both zones. Inmates who appeared to have been assaulted during this act were identified as Deontay Kane, Dalen Collins. Oh, and Dalen Collins.
Wait, there's only two?
Only two inmates out of this big fight between zone 400 and 500 that were assaulted.
I have to imagine that Joel Garland was probably assaulted at some point, being that he was involved in it.
And had a pipe to defend it, to ward off people. Yeah, really weird. After further investigation, they reviewed security camera footage. And it showed that at approximately 10:58, inmate worker Madre Lee is seen talking to inmates at zone 400.
Hey, this was at 11 in the morning?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when the trustees are out. So a trustee started all of this.
Hey, prison riot energy at 11 in the morning?
11 a.m. They got it cranking. They've been up since 4. I think they wake them up at like 4 to give them breakfast. Inmate worker Lee checked zone 500 door to ensure it was not locked. An inmate later identified as Quamarvious Nichols slides open the zone door to zone 400, and 3 inmates joined him in attempting to open zone 500 door. Once zone 500 was opened, inmates from zone 400, with inmate Mender leading them, blocked the doorway to a now opened zone 500. I don't even know what's going on. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. From the video, you can see inmates with padded clothing as well as having their necks wrapped in torn sheets. It is going down in Fulton County. What the fuck? Wrapped sheets?
Like who though?
No, they're saying just inmates. They're saying in the video, you can see inmates with padded clothing as well as having their necks wrapped in torn sheets. So they're trying to protect themselves from getting stabbed during a fight. Y'all, this is the jail. People are innocent in this. This is not prison.
Protect your neck.
And padded clothes. How are they padding their clothing?
And like there are 2 sets of inmates, but like are both sets of inmates with padded clothing?
I don't know.
I bet Miles Farley made that clothing.
Yeah. Inmate Antonio Waller. Right, Miles Farley designed it. And it's YSL. Antonio Waller standing in the doorway with a clearly identifiable weapon in his hand.
If it's clearly identifiable, why don't you see what it is?
What is it, right? Inmate Mender is seen talking with inmates in zone 500 while standing in front of the other inmates from zone 400. Are y'all following? I'm not. What's going on? Other inmates from zone 400, one of them with a door hinge wrapped in a socket, later identified as Antonio Johnson.
Johnson.
This is Mr. Johnson. Is this Mr. Johnson? I don't know.
One of them with a door hinge wrapped in a socket.
What is that? How is a door hinge wrapped in a socket?
It is the sockets later identified as Antonio Johnson. Was the door hinge wrapped?
Yo, this is horrible writing.
In Antonio Johnson?
Yeah, I don't know. Was it wrapped in a sock or a socket?
What are they even trying to say? Other inmates? One of them has a door hinge wrapped in a sock.
A sock. Okay, so it says socket, but we're going to assume sock. And that person is Antonio Johnson. He tried to enter the zone and was told to stand down by Mender. So Mender is allegedly running everything. From the video, inmate Mender is the one controlling the situation.
But he's the one who started the situation.
Right. So he goes to start it and controls it.
Okay.
At approximately 11 o'clock, 2 minutes later, Mender makes entry into zone 500. So for 2 minutes, it was just melee stuff going on.
But I don't know. Not because Mender's saying don't come in.
I don't know, y'all. But pay attention because this is where QUAY comes up. At approximately 11:01 hours, all of the inmates began pushing their way into zone 500. I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try to fix that. Because they just said, okay, so Mender makes his way, but then everybody else pushes their way into it. Who is everybody else? Is it the three?
He was standing in the door, not blocking the door, right?
I don't know.
He could have just walked right in.
An inmate, later identified as Quamarvious Nichols, throws a cooler of a liquid substance into the zone.
I need a paragraph on that. Where did he get a cooler, and what was the why don't we just say liquid?
What was the liquid? Water, juice? What is it?
In which zone? Are we still talking about 500?
I don't know. That's all. At approximately 11:02, inmates in 500 began coming out of their cells with weapons. Inmates from both zones are now they're supposed to be seen assaulting one another inside of zone 500 with various weapons.
Why did they wait 2 minutes to come up? Do you think they were just chilling for 2 minutes? Well,
maybe they were trying to slip through the water or the liquid. I don't know. At approximately 11:04, 3 unidentified inmates go up the stairs in zone 500 and begin chasing an inmate on the top tier. They chase him into room 518, where they stay for a while. They stay for a while. This is what it literally says, y'all. They stay for a while. And then the inmate is seen running out of cell 518 and back towards the other end of the top tier where there is minimal lighting and visibility. At approximately 11:05, Officer Sweeney returns to the floor and inmates from both zones begin to disperse. But I thought they were fighting when she came in.
Yeah.
Okay. She's seen giving verbal commands and utilizing her taser.
Why do they it wasn't that she wants to be clear that's not her personal taser? I mean,
right. Her county issue taser, as if they are at work with their own tasers.
She's not dispensing cycles anymore either.
Yeah. Both cell searches and individual inmate searches were conducted. Inmates who appeared to have been assaulted during this act were identified and escorted to medical, which were the 2 we already read. So that's it, y'all. That is holding.
So the only thing he's identified as doing is throwing
liquid.
Liquid?
It's one sentence in this warrant. Oh, sorry, y'all, hit the wrong button. There is one sentence in this warrant for Quamarvious. Throws a cooler of a liquid substance into the zone. That is a charge that is pending and has been indicted against him, that he now has to come back and deal with.
It's almost hard to charge anybody based on this.
Yeah, y'all. This is sad, man. The system just holds you up. One more thing I want to show y'all. Let me see. I just showed James this earlier. So there's a way that you can Google what's called in Georgia called TPMs. Anybody that's had a family member locked up, y'all already know what I'm talking about. A TPM is a tentative parole month. Okay, so you can just go to Google, type in Georgia TPM, the site will come up. You put an inmate's name in, it'll show you what their tentative parole month is. I want to show you all what this says.
Just reading Cat. The DOJ report noted they spent like $75,000 on tasers, using money meant for inmate well-being, and
oh my God, they spent, okay, so Cat Nat Williams says the DOJ report noted they spent like $75K on tasers, using money meant for inmate well-being. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's spent like a couple $100,000 on drones.
Oh God, don't get
he wants to spend like $250,000 on drone defense.
Nobody's using a drone to get into the Fulton County Jail. They do that for the prisons. That's ridiculous.
That was my favorite jail call. Was I can't remember who it was. I think it was, Cat will probably know, but they're discussing the plot to fly the drone into the jail to get cell phones.
That wasn't going to work.
I'm just joking.
Yes, I'm like, that's not going to work. All right, so this is the inmate tentative parole month lookup. Y'all, look what this says for QUAY. It says September 2028. I don't know if I can make this bigger. Am I making? Oh yeah, I'm making it bigger, y'all.
Oh, that's cool.
Coravious Nichols, tentative parole, September 20. That is some bull. That is some bull.
And this is before accounting for the new stuff, right?
Yep. For Always Forever for Life says, does every state have this TPM? I'm not sure. I haven't ever looked in another state, so I'm not sure, y'all. Y'all can see, but this is wild. 2028. He went in thinking 9 months later he was going to be paroled. And this is saying September 2020. Now, this date encompasses, because, you know, at the third of your time, you're eligible for parole, but eligible doesn't mean it's going to be granted, right? And so what they also look at is, do you have pending things? Those pending charges that are still pending are holding him up for parole as well. So this is not good. Adventuring says, so far they've screwed with bond, probation, and parole opportunities for Moontoon, Miles, Nichols, Mender, Antonio Sumlin, and Yak. And that's just the guys I can think of off top of my head. You are so right.
Man, Antonio Sumlin, you know what, I can't, never mind.
This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people from this case already that are jammed up in this continuous cycle dealing with Fulton County. And I don't know that it'll ever end. I don't know.
I will say that, I mean, you kind of alluded to this earlier, but with Moontook, it's not just a probation revocation issue that we're looking at. Mm-hmm. And I suspect that if you were to go back for many of these guys, you'll find mistakes in their past cases as well.
Yeah.
And they compound over time.
And as James points them out to me and shows me new things from 2015, 2016. I mean, so many errors. It's just, I mean, I know these errors exist because I've worked in Fulton County for 8 years as a public defender. We would always see errors. Nobody's criminal history is updated. Clerk's office from back in the day didn't update things. So you'll have a new charge and they're still talking about something from 25 years ago was open when you know it's not. I've seen those type of mistakes. I've seen the wrong people charged with things. I've seen people charged twice with things. I've had clients that have been arrested, pled out, and then arrested again on the same warrants. It's just human error. Whenever humans are involved in something, there will be errors. But y'all, these type of errors are just unheard of. And
you could show
his names.
So when you said errors, I started thinking.
Oh yeah, so we were talking about how they get your name wrong and how you're stuck with it. I'm gonna show you all the QUAY's booking sheet and just show you how many different ways they have spelled this man's name wrong, and how these are aliases that he'll just have to live with forever.
And there are consequences to this too. I mean, he has a relatively distinct name, but if your name is Antonio or
look at all of these names, and all of these are just errors. Yeah, these are just errors of them putting his name in wrong, not him. Not clearly, he's Quamarvious Nichols is his name, but these are all the different times they spelled his name wrong, included the middle, not included the middle. But these are all aliases that are assigned to him for life because somebody put it in wrong. I have a client. His name is Ken Tavius, and they put it in as a V. Now the V is on the other side of the keyboard, but they put it in as Ventavious, and his indictment is Ventavious, aka his real name. And he's stuck with that for life because it's on his arrest record.
I love how they actually do have one alias at the end there. It's just like 45 mistakes.
QUAY.
And then they eventually get
QUAY.
How do I look at Antonio's?
I don't
inmate search.
Oh, yeah. Let me pull up Antonio's.
That's public. You can talk about that.
Yeah. So we're gonna give y'all a little tease. I'm
on the Department of Corrections.
You talking about this one?
The
Department of Corrections. Oh, that one.
This
Okay.
one probably has a bunch too.
Well, this one it won't matter the same though. All right, I'm pulling up Department of Corrections inmate search to pull up Antonio's.
I love his picture.
Picture. Oh yeah, we met with him a couple of weeks ago, so we can give you all that update. So we did meet with him, and positive as always, great spirits.
It annoys me so much.
He laughs. He just says he ain't stressing about nothing. He's just in there praying and just waiting to hear when he can go pack his shit up and go home. Like he's such a positive person. It's crazy. Okay, this is him. Oh yeah, let me pull it up. Look at his picture. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna share the screen, and then we are gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right. So this is Mr. Sledge. He's lost a lot of weight too. He doesn't still look that heavy. Look at this, y'all. Look, this man has aliases. Let me make this bigger. Antonio has aliases that don't even match his name. Like it's not like they're different people. Antonio Brooks, who that's a whole nother person. Antonio Shepard, a whole nother person. Kim Burley says he's a good guy and positive. He is. And he had a lot of great stuff going on at the time that he was taken into custody. So I just can't wait to get that kind of stuff out there because it's just really sad. So yeah.
I can't. That's a good point. Actually, they don't have Mootuk on there. They don't have his nickname on there.
Right? They don't have Mootuk, but they got 5 other guys' names that's not that are real people that are not him. It's wrap up. Before this goes out again. I guess we're dropping too much tea. Somebody might be trying to infiltrate the system. I am at the office.
Since we're getting taken down by Fulton County.
I know it's gonna get a copyright strike. Oh,
it was my honor to come across the country to participate in the show.
Yes, actually, Linnell says, "Do you think Paige would have made the same decision the longer the trial went on?" I don't think so, and I actually was hoping that when we got to the end of the trial, she would kind of revisit it and do something different because of how things played out. So we're hoping that sympathy is still there, but I think things would have been different. But they did the revocation 2 weeks after he testified, and I think he was like her first full witness.
Yeah.
In the trial of her taking over because she came into it in between Woody, and I think he might have come back like a couple of days, but I think Sledge was like the first big witness after that. So I definitely think she needed a little more time to see how shaded the state was. So yeah. Well, I am so glad that you came from all the way from California, James. This has been amazing. We have to link up. I have to come see you. I wish our trip could have been more fruitful, but
nice.
Yeah. I wish I could have got down to Fulton County and talked to some people today, but maybe it'll happen soon. And y'all just stay tuned. We're really working hard on this side for Mootuk, and we really hope we're able to do something very soon for him. So just stay tuned on that. I don't want to, can't really break it up now. Flesh of God, of the gods, what up, family? Hey, thanks for tuning in. So yeah, any last words?
Yeah, I'm gonna get drunk tomorrow back in California and just tell everything.
Oh no. Okay, so James flying out at noon, y'all. So tomorrow night he's gonna get back home, he's gonna get drunk, and he's gonna spill all the Atlanta tea.
I might actually do something on the one I mentioned earlier, that new one that Sylvia.
Oh, send him. Yeah, shout out to Miss Sylvia. She was in the chat earlier. Not sure if you're still here. Miss Sylvia sent James some info. So He'll have a live this weekend, y'all. Y'all know he finds errors in everything.
I might have an update on Duke too.
Update on Duke. Okay. Update on Duke. Catnat Williams. Yes, thank you so much, sis. She said she loved every second of this. I loved it as well. Thanks for introducing us. We're going to be friends for life. And maybe I can get James to come get licensed in Georgia. Maybe we can try some cases together. He's amazing.
It's $1,200 for a background check.
Yeah, they run background checks on lawyers, y'all. We have to pass bar fitness, so it's a lot. But yes, shout out to Catnat Williams and happy birthday. I saw some happy birthdays to you earlier. I hope you turn up for your birthday, Cat. Have a great time. Be responsible when you hang out, and if they pull you over, shut the fuck up and take the ride. Call fit. I got you. Anything else?
No, that was it. Don't say anything.
Yeah, don't talk to the police, okay? Yeah, shout out Vague and Ambiguous says, thank you so much for everything you're doing to both of you. Yes. It's been so much. Catnat Williams says, I will contribute if you do it, Jim. Oh, God, Cat, he doesn't need much pushing. He doesn't.
What are you contributing to?
You getting drunk and telling all. Oh. My besties in the house, Miss CDB, she says, at Catnat Williams, happy birthday. Yes, Cat already knows. Yes, be quiet. If you get stopped by the police, if you're in Georgia, you got to ID yourself because we're an ID state. But after that, shut up and take the ride. Shut up and take the ride. And if you don't understand what we're talking about, tune in to my last live, the DUI update, and the one from New Year's Eve. Shut the fuck up and take the ride.
Oh, he was actually being a good influence.
Oh, she said, no, I meant to his background check. Oh, Catnat Williams. Oh. She said she's going to contribute to your background check. Look, I was thinking she's talking about the booze.
That's less fun. Yeah.
He said that's less fun, Cat. He wanted you to contribute to the booze. All right. So, y'all, we're going to wrap it up. We are attorneys, but we are not your attorneys. We have just been providing legal commentary. So thank you for tuning in. Be sure you like, subscribe, and share the channel. Happily Angry Lawyer is on YouTube as well. And I'm the Fit Lawyer ATL. And we will see you in court.